Look, the Chicago Bears have pulled off something almost impossible. Coming out of yesterday's ridiculous face plant against the Detroit Lions, coming into this game even, there's evidence that the Bears have something almost impossible going here as a franchise. Now, I'm being a little sarcastic, but I'm to the point. Just check this out on DraftKings Twitter. This was brought to my attention by my friend and coworker Dave. So thank you so much, Dave. The Bears had a 71.3% chance to win during yesterday's game versus the Packers and lost. Over the last 3 seasons, they've blown 5 leads with a 90% or higher chance of winning. The odds of losing all 6 of those games are 1 in 68 million. Yes, 1 in 68 million. Just unbelievable, right? Now, I'm also going to get into post-game remarks from both Coach Eberflus and Caleb and what that means. That'll be in just a moment. But all this is before the Minnesota loss. The high percentile chance of winning, getting the ball first in overtime after that ridiculous comeback engineered by Caleb Williams, taking a sack. Then Eberflus inexplicably playing really soft coverage. This is also before this Detroit Lions game yesterday. Saving a timeout for maybe, I don't know. Can you save timeouts for the next week? Is there a reason to save them? Oh, man, I don't know. But Matt Eberflus, however you cut it, he's been so impossibly awful with game management that it's literally possible to get struck by lightning twice than the coach with such ineptitude at the end of games. So even more impossible in my mind, losing games with that high of winning percentage, that should have a head coach's seat on fire, absolutely scorching. And job security is their biggest worry. Yet none of these losses have led to a firing of head coach Matt Eberflus. And that in my own mind is almost insane. And you know me, I try to be respectful. I try to be kind. I never want to advocate for someone losing their job. But this has got to be it, right? We need to move on from this before the locker room, it just fully implodes. You hear Keenan Allen after the game, and I quote, "I think we did enough as players to win that game." Kyler Gordon, he just rolls his eyes and refuses to comment. And DJ Moore is a little more colorful. "We just crap the bed." That's an edit. It's time to move on, right? So let's get into these post-game remarks as well. And this might be absolutely the worst part of all of it. I thought political season was over, right? Aren't elections finished for a period of time? I hope so. I'm glad to see that period gone, but you wouldn't know that by listening to our very own coach, Matt Eberflus. When he was asked repeatedly about the end of the game, he kept grasping at straws, thinking ways to double talk his way out of admitting blame, just doing everything he could to put a bright and shiny coat of paint on this ridiculous rusted out Chevy of a team in the fourth quarter. So any other good coach, think Dan Campbell, right? His counterpart in this game. Any good coach would have started this presser with something like, "Look, I let this team down. I let the city down. I let my quarterback down at the end of this game." A quarterback who fought hard, throwing for 3 touchdowns in the second half. "I didn't handle it properly. I completely blew it. This is fully on me." So many coaches, specifically Dan Campbell, would have started out this press conference exactly that way. And you get some grace from that, right? But no, not Matt Eberflus. He double talks his way through it. When asked about management of the clock, he keeps going back and pinning it on players over and over. He brought up the hands to the face penalty several times when asked about the clock management at the very end of the game. He brings up a penalty. He brings up the sack. And he actually goes a little further. You have to read between the lines here, but he avoids the timeout question asked to him and actually pushes toward his quarterback not being able to get the offense ready in time. I mean, he's completely dodging responsibility until pressed so hard that he finally has to and says, "Yeah, it's on me." But accountability is like pulling teeth with this dude. And Caleb doesn't stand for it at this point, and rightfully so. And I actually really like this. Once again, you have to read between the lines, but this is evidence that I think even the quarterback, even his relationship with the quarterback is irretrievably broken. So Caleb addresses not calling the timeout. He addresses clock management. He also says it all by saying it took 20 seconds to get the play to come in. The radio shuts off at that point, and he's left on his own. 35 seconds to get a play in and get it called. We get one off. And Eberflus, he never takes control during any of this. He never calls a timeout before that. 13 seconds left. And Caleb's left in a situation that there isn't enough time. He's forced to reset the play into an end zone shot. It's really all that he could do. And it's also alluded to that it's under Eberflus's authority to call a timeout and not the quarterback. So here's a direct quote from Caleb Williams, and I'm just going to let that speak. In that situation, I'm living with the call, and I let the coaches and everybody make that decision on whether it's time. I'm assuming whether it's time to call a timeout, depending on whether it's the guys running back and they're down the field, whatever that situation is, that's going to be the coach's call. Maybe in the latter years of my career, but right now I get the call. I'm trying to lead the guys to win, and I'm trying to get everybody lined up. And from there, I'm trying to make a play for the Chicago Bears. Eberflus offers this up as well. And this is the same nonsense as defending his decisions leading up to the Hail Mary loss to the Commanders. Remember, it's not just our cornerback jawing to the fans and not being checked into the play. They catch that Hail Mary. It's also about giving the Commanders a free 15 yards coming into that play by playing soft coverage, pulling the corners back. Even the Commanders wide receivers talked in the media. We are absolutely shocked that we are just given 15 yards to put us in the spot to catch that Hail Mary. So, I mean, this is just a continuation of an accountability problem. And Matt Eberflus keeps like doubling down on these bad decisions and not saying that they're bad decisions. There's no accountability. So I just get excited about this. And if it's a problem coming from the top, if accountability is a problem coming from the top, naturally, that's going to bleed into the team. You're going to have undisciplined players. You're going to have a team without accountability. You're going to even have a team that gets a ton of penalties. I mean, it all comes from the top. And true to form, Coach Flus adds this nugget, and this is what made my ears bleed. I think we handled it the right way. It didn't work out the way we wanted. Just like, hey, we did all the right things. It just didn't work out. Like, this is our coach. And we now have a rookie quarterback who just set a record for most completions without an interception for a rookie quarterback, a guy who's led 4 fourth quarter comebacks as a rookie. He drove down the field in Washington. He did the same against hated rival Green Bay, right? He brought it to overtime against Minnesota, 10 points down with a minute and a half to go. I mean, granted, special teams got that onside kick, but he did everything necessary to win that game. And now, yesterday, against who I think is the best team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions, I think they are the best team. He brings them to a spot that they can tie or win at the very end of the game, and the coaching staff just botches it. I mean, this is a team that the Chicago Bears were 10-point underdogs against. The coach is indecisive. He's unprepared. He's ultra conservative when he shouldn't be. Each time he has been just that, but this is so much worse. No accountability, political answers, coupled with the desire to just talk about his players, throw them under the bus, and not just point it on himself. I mean, this isn't leadership. And I think the relationship with Caleb Williams, it's reached a hard stop now as well. The only little thing that I will give to Eberflus, and kind of hearkening back to that Green Bay game, he got a ton of criticism for not advancing the ball, choosing to just sit there for, what was it, like 90 seconds in total, not really try to advance the ball, just figure I'll kick the field goal and get out of here. He actually, and the answers that he gave for doing that in the press conference was like, a lot of bad things can happen. You can get a sack, you can get a fumble, you can throw a pick. I just wanted to sit down and have faith in my kicker. He actually did the opposite in this Detroit game yesterday. He actually did try to still advance the ball when he was at the 25 in field goal range. And these fears that Matt Eberflus was talking about that stopped him from moving forward in that Green Bay game, they actually came to fruition against Detroit. So it's kind of like, that's the only thing that I don't want to quibble about too much. Like, he's kind of darned if he does and darned if he doesn't in this situation. And you've got a team that the offensive line is just awful. Maybe some of his fears from the Green Bay game are founded. I don't know. I just want to throw that out there. I want to be as fair as I possibly can. But you guys let me know what you think even on that. Bear down. We've got another game to prepare for. Thank goodness there's going to be a longer period of time before we have to watch them play again. In the meantime, I'm going to be right here in the trenches with you. Let's see if Coach Matt Eberflus keeps his job. You guys bear down. We'll talk soon.